Welcome back, nerds. We're your hosts. I'm Jake.
And I'm Chad. This week we are sponsored by Crybaby Craig's.
And we are also sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks. This week we are going to be talking about Loki, episode 2.
And we'll also be continuing our deeper dive into the old X-Men films with X-Men Dark Phoenix, unfortunately.
So let's get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast.
Nerd. All right, welcome back, guys, to another week of the All Things Nerd podcast, your weekly dive into all things nerd. Yeah, exciting, right, Jake?
Yeah, always.
But yeah, so before we get into it, how's your week been, my guy?
My week's been pretty good. Kind of a slow week.
Kind of droned on for me too.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot going on. I had my niece's first birthday party, which was last night. That was a lot of fun. Other than that, man, this week has been pretty chill. How about you?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. Also, your niece's first birthday. I'm just kidding. I wasn't there.
In spirit, maybe.
Yeah. I wish that I could be there, but it's hard to go to a birthday party a few states away just for one night.
Yeah.
No, it's just been, it's been kind of chill. It's, the weather out here is weird.
Yeah.
It's
Ohio.
Super hot, and then it rains, and it gets down to like the 60s, and then the next day it's just back up in the 80s. So naturally, it's a lot of on and off of the air conditioner. And my air conditioner froze over because of all like the moisture that was there. So that's a thing. But we did order new merch, or we're in the process of ordering new merch.
We got some new shirts coming. Some of the originals that
we're restocking. Yeah, we're restocking the originals that Jake is so vainly wearing.
Whatever.
It's a comfortable shirt. I don't blame you.
Well, so here's the thing: is I was going to go. Me and Nicole were gonna go get tattoos today, but we stupidly did not take into account the fact that it is Father's Day. So we got there and they were closed for Father's Day.
Wait, so you actually drove all the way there to find out it was closed? You didn't just call first?
It doesn't say on the website or anything. In fact, if you looked it up, it said opening soon, and we were like, "Oh, sweet, they must be open." And so we were like, "Let's go."
But you didn't call to see if they could even fit you in for walk-ins?
Well, that's all they do on Sundays is walk-ins.
Oh,
so you just got to be the first people to arrive. So we were like, "Let's go," and and we got there, and I won't say his name on here, but the piercer. The guy who does the piercings got there with his kid, which makes sense because it was Father's Day. And he's like, "Yeah, we're closed for Father's Day." And we were like, "Fuck me. Okay."
Then why was he there?
I don't know. Maybe he's giving his kid a tattoo or piercing. I don't know. But yeah, so we're going to go back next Sunday. But I wore the shirt on purpose because I wanted them to be like, "The fuck's that?" And then I would have been like, "Oh, it's this podcast that we do." And I had a bunch of stickers in my pocket, and I was like, "You mind if I put these stickers on your fucking thing?" But didn't happen. I'll try again next week. So that's why I'm so vainly wearing my...
So vain.
But yeah.
Just the impersonation of Lord Farquaad.
Yeah.
Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
How old were you when you realized what Lord Farquaad stood for? You were today years old.
I was going to say, based on how this question was propped up, probably today's years old. Yeah.
Fuckwad.
Oh yeah, I got that.
Did you?
I got that.
Because I feel like you would have said that just now when I said.
No, I thought it was going to be like an acronym.
Or no.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that was it. now we're inadvertently talking about Shrek, but
that's a nerdy thing.
Farquaad is fuckwad, which is hilarious.
That is hilarious. But yeah, I kind of assumed that's what they meant, but when you asked that question, I was like, oh God, is there more?
I didn't know that. And then I, like, somebody somewhere that I read or saw said that, and I was like, oh,
it's probably a TikTok.
Yeah. No, it was before TikTok, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
That's right, because Jake's isn't on TikTok. Just kidding. He sends me...
It wasn't on TikTok.
He sends me probably more videos than I send him now. Only because he yelled at me one time for it.
I didn't yell at you. I just said, hey, man.
You said, chill. Okay, fucking stop.
Like, chill.
Those were your words. Were fucking stop. But yeah, so on top of all of that, guys, we have made it to episode 20.
Yeah.
Which is pretty wild. I mean, we're by no means a big famous podcast. For you new listeners, for those of you who've been around for a while, you know how famous we are. Not famous. That's how famous we are. But yeah, this is episode 20, which is pretty exciting because this was just something that we kind of talked about doing for fun.
Yeah.
And it was, hey, if people listen, cool. If not, cool. Because we were having these same conversations originally.
Yeah.
Just over Snapchat. And we're like, why don't we just do this as a podcast? Maybe some people will listen. And we've been blown away. Yeah. I mean, we now have merch. We have a web store. You know, we have people that are contributing.
We've done interviews with people who are more famous than we are.
And way cooler.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because Jake is pretty cool.
Shout out Jerry Ma.
Yeah, Jerry Ma, who, by the way, like, crushed his Kickstarter. If anyone was paying attention to it. Yeah. Like, he's done so much with it, and he's given back so much. But, yeah, this podcast has blown us away. And those of you that listen, I just want to say thank you now. So you don't have to wait till the end of the episode to hear us say thank you again.
But stick around anyways.
Yeah, stick around, obviously, because we're going to talk about some cool stuff. But before we get into Loki, episode 2, which already, episode 2 is like dropping bombs.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, we do need to talk about our first sponsor, which is Raise Energy Drinks. It's fantastic. 0 sugar, 0 calories, 0 crash. I drink one just about every day. And it's awesome. And they have other supplements too. So just listen up. You'll learn a little bit about it. And if it sounds good, you can save 15%. So just listen up, guys. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, and powered by their Refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
All right, guys, so we're going to get into Loki episode 2. And first and foremost, before we get started, major spoiler alerts. If you haven't watched it yet, tune out.
Yeah, tune out, then watch it, then come back.
Yeah.
But again, the episodes come out on Wednesday, same as this episode. So,
it's a whole week.
Just as a friendly reminder, you are now a full week behind. So maybe
do better.
Maybe watch this episode and the current week's episode, and then you don't have to keep pausing this podcast every week.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. But seriously, if you haven't watched it, if you haven't gotten around to it, major spoilers. So pause this episode and come back.
We're gonna ruin everything for you if you haven't seen it. So
Loki dies.
Yeah, episode 2. It's a wrap. It was actually only a 2-episode series.
I'm technically not wrong because they show that they've quote unquote pruned multiple Lokis over the course of time, and one of them is like a Hulk Loki.
Dude, weird, and with actual horns, not a helmet. That was kind of cool.
And then they also show like a true like Norse Viking Loki with like a Viking helmet with.
They also show like a fucking Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, he's basically Lance Armstrong.
That's funny. I'm really liking the vibe of the show between for some weird I almost said Colin Farrell. I don't know why. Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, it's a very much like a buddy cop, like Bad Boys kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Have you seen so since the show aired,
Starsky and Hutch?
Starsky and Loki.
Because Owen Wilson was in.
I said that last week, bro. You can't.
Did you say it last week?
Yeah, stop bogarting on my jokes, bro. No, but I think it was within the past week. It might have been a couple weeks ago. But Owen Wilson talking about Loki was on Jimmy Kimmel, and he showed a clip of Tom Hiddleston doing an Owen Wilson impersonation.
Oh, I saw it, yeah.
And just the pure joy and like the genuine laughter that Owen Wilson has, like watching Tom Hiddleston like basically mock him.
Yeah.
That was
old.
Great. That was old?
Like, no. There's the episode where the thing where Owen Wilson watches Tom Hiddleston doing his impression is new. But Tom Hiddleston doing the impression
because he did that on Graham Norton like years ago.
Yeah, years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, and just seeing like Owen Wilson's just like face light up and just like laugh. It's great. It just adds to like the buddy cop aspect.
What is it there's like a saying where like something is like the greatest form of flattery.
Oh yeah. Is it mockery? Or is it imitation? I think it's imitation is the greatest form.
Something, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, talk about the episode a little bit here. You and I both have a couple theories that differ from each other, or I think they're in line with each other. We just both have a couple different.
They could both be true, which is what's super cool about it.
And these aren't confirmed or anything like that. Like how we thought.
Also, even though we're going to talk about them, they're. As much as I wish we could take credit for them, there are things that we have read.
Yeah, true.
But they're just theories that we think are true.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that in a second.
Why don't you get into yours, the quantum theory?
Yeah. So the theory that I saw, like circulating the interwebs, that I really think is great is that the TVA, like the headquarters, is actually in the quantum realm. There's a few things that point out to it, like in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they're in the quantum realm, it kind of looks like there's a vast city in the background during one scene. also, is it Michelle Pfeiffer that plays Janet Van Dyne? Mentions that, in the quantum realm, time works differently than Owen Wilson, like word for word, without saying the quantum realm. He just says in the TVA, time works differently. And then from there, Ant-Man 3 is called Quantumania.
Yeah.
The big bad is Kang the Conqueror. He is in the comics and kind of portrayed in this. It's not given that it is officially Kang, or if it's like one of his elders that he overthrows, whatever it might be, is one of the Time Lords.
Yeah. And we mentioned last week that Ravonna and Kang in the comics are... Ravonna is in the show, she's the girl who is...
the high judge. She's
like Owen Wilson's boss that he kind of like...
reports to. She's kind of in charge of the TVA.
So they're louvers in the comics, her and Kang the Conqueror. So
in case you didn't know, louvers is the plural of that museum in Paris. It's not Louvres or Louvre, it's louvers.
They're louvers.
No, but yeah, so they're lovers in the comics. I definitely think that that's going to pull through, because there's a lot of... And this kind of ties into the theory that Jake wants to talk about, too. Yeah. There's some major hints at, their relationship. But also this kind of makes sense to the quote in Endgame when Thanos and his army comes through the quantum tunnel to the future for the giant battle at the end of Endgame. And Tony says, if you mess with time tends to mess back.
Yeah.
And literally all of those things, like, they all just kind of like build and build and build and build. And there's... it's not confirmed, so we can't say it for sure. So we can definitely be Mephisto'd on this.
Yes.
Like we were with the WandaVision.
I was going to say.
But if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. But also, Marvel has proven us time and time again that if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a donkey.
Oh. I was going to say a lion.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that at the end of episode 4, there will be a musical number called Agatha All Along. Yeah. And Catherine Hahn will be the star of the episode.
Yeah.
No, but not realistically, but I do believe that the TVA operates out of the quantum realm. That's how they can see the entire timeline
and manipulate time the way that they do.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of leads into my theory a little bit, is that, hold on, crossing these off so I don't double talk about
Well,
these.
First off, let's talk about, we do get to see what has been portrayed as the antagonist, the bad guy,
no, my thing is before this happens.
Loki, though.
Yeah, I know, but the thing I wanted to talk about is it happens before this happens.
Oh, my bad.
What thing are you thinking of talking about?
Well,
we'll just go.
That it's so the quote unquote evil version of Loki that the TVA is hunting, is a female version of Loki.
Of Loki, Lady Loki is what
Lady Loki. We don't know,
calling her,
because Tom Hiddleston calls her Loki, and she goes,
because he thinks that based on the last scene in the first episode where Owen Wilson is like, Mobius is like, well, it's funny you say that because the time variant that we're chasing is you. So Loki thinks that they're chasing a different version of him, which technically they are, but it's a female version of him. And like they show earlier in the episode, like Chad was talking about, they show different versions of Loki where he's like a Hulk version, he's like a barbarian, he's like a Norse god, And so I think she is a version of Loki, but she's just a female.
Yeah, but she kind of rejects the name Loki.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, but that's all I was trying to get to before. Because if you hear us say Lady Loki or the variant Loki, we're talking about the female version from whatever timeline she comes from. But now you can go ahead. Sorry.
So this is just something I noticed while watching the episode, and I think it's gonna be something. It could not mean jack shit, but it would tie into the Ravana and Kang theory. There's a part in the episode where Owen Wilson is in Ravana's office, and he goes, "Man, this office just keeps getting better and better." And he notices a snow globe, which in her entire office is like old relics and books and shit like that,
and 70s roller skates, and
then there's just like a random snow globe on the shelf, and Mobius is like, "Where did that come from? I know I didn't bring that to you because I would remember." And she's like, "Well, you're not the only person that works for me out in the field. My theory is that it's Kang that maybe gifted that to her because they're Louvers." But I also think that
plural Parisian art museums. Yes.
Yeah, I also think that Kang and Ravana made the timekeepers up. I don't think the timekeepers are a thing.
Oh,
I think that they're manipulating time by calling the timekeepers. And the way I'm backing this theory up is that when Owen Wilson, Mobius, and Loki, sorry, I gotta try to reel that in to not confuse people. Mobius and Loki are talking later on in the episode. Loki is like, "Hey, so the timekeepers, has anybody ever seen them? Blah, blah, blah." And Mobius is like, "No, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, they're too busy figuring out how the world ends, basically.
And Loki basically drops like the god knowledge. Like, if you've never seen them, do they really exist? And Mobius is like, "Well, of course they do. Like, I believe in it, and this is this." And Loki's like, "Well, that just doesn't make sense." And then Mobius is like, "Well, look at you. Where did you come from? Who made you?" And Loki's like, "A frost giant." And he goes, "And who raised you?" And he goes, "Odin." And he's like, "So you're a frost giant raised by a god of mythology." And he's like, "Do you realize how ridiculous you sound? You're telling me that I'm ridiculous for believing what I believe in." But I think that Kang and Ravana are basically like any religion, in my opinion. Sorry, I don't want to get into religion, but made up the timekeepers to manipulate time to their advantage.
Yeah.
That's what I think's happening.
Which would make sense and tie into the comics, as well as, how big of a role Kang is supposed to play in upcoming films.
Yeah. That's another thing is that Chad already mentioned is Kang is confirmed as the bad guy in Ant-Man 3 Quantumania, which the name of the movie is about
majority
the
of that
quantum realm.
Film is already confirmed to take place in the quantum realm.
Yeah. So crazy.
So I see where I got off track because I thought you were going to go on the Lady Loki theory that you have.
Yeah.
But I see that.
Okay, well, we're getting there.
The way that you went made way more sense.
All good.
But
all good.
Before we get there, I do want to mention that, like, just the vibe of this episode is very, like, detective show. It's kind of got that murder mystery, like, Cold Files vibe. And I am so for it.
Well, yeah, because, Loki and Mobius, they basically...
I'm just kidding.
Mobius. Owen Wilson?
Yeah, I know who that is.
They basically, the way they find this other time variant, Loki, is by digging into like old files and like doing that cop work basically to find Loki, and it was pretty cool. And then you finally get to see like Loki kind of like actually helping a little bit
and embrace like this new role that he's found himself in too.
Because he's also, if you don't remember from the first episode, basically Mobius tells Loki like, "Hey man, you don't exist anymore. Like you have this that I'm trying to give you some purpose outside of what we're doing here. Get fucked."
Yeah, and then stay fucked.
So now Loki is kind of trying to, and it's very funny in the episode is because Loki is still like a stubborn piece of shit, and he's like trying to be like a snake still, but like Mobius is like, "Let me guess, you want to get in front of the the timekeepers, manipulate them, and then overthrow them." And Loki's like, "Well," and he's like, "Yeah, you're a scared little boy out in the cold." Or no, he goes, what does he say? He goes, "Honestly, I don't care what you believe. I'm going to tell you two things. You believe one of them. I don't give a shit." He's like, "One, you're a scared little boy freezing in the cold, and I feel bad for you. Two, I will tell you anything I want to tell you to get you to help me because I just want to catch this guy."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It is. And like, there's a little bit more depth to it. But what's cool is that the way that Loki finds the variant Loki, the Lady Loki, is he basically deduces that anytime that there's an apocalyptic level event, something where an event happens in history where everyone who is there dies, that there is no variant energy detected. Basically, that no new timeline splits from it, no matter what happens. So he comes to the theory that you can basically do whatever you want before an apocalyptic event, and nothing changes. So he figures
everyone's gonna die anyway, so it won't matter if you change the course of what's happening in that timeline, because the branch will end at the extinction level event.
Yeah. So there's a really funny interaction between Loki and Mobius during this, where Loki basically just ruins Mobius's salad for lunch by trying to prove this point by like putting like salt and pepper and coconut milk and energy drinks in it, and Mobius is like, "What are you doing? That's my lunch. Like, stop it." And then at the end, he's like, "Wait, that makes sense."
Well, so the one thing I didn't get this right away, but what I did get about it, when he's pouring the salt and pepper on the salad, it actually makes sense because he's saying like, "I'm changing your meal, right? Like this is all you could do whatever you want to it." But then when he pours the coconut milk on it or whatever the hell that was, the salt and pepper dissolve, and he's like, "See, this is the end event, and now the salt has dissolved. It doesn't matter because this was going to happen anyway."
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense.
The way
he did it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But it did make sense.
I read it a little bit different, but same end result was like, you're adding salt and pepper, so you're adding spice. You're adding a variation to this event. But the second you pour the coconut milk on it, like that salad is ruined.
Oh, yeah.
So
well, he says it dissolved in the episode.
So you can't like eat the salad anymore. Like it's no longer, there's no future for it. That's where it ends. Same general outcome, but we saw it a slightly
same general income,
yeah.
But so Mobius obviously was like, "Holy shit, you're right. Let's go test this theory." So they go to fucking Pompeii, which is awesome. They go to Pompeii, and Mobius is like, "We got to do like a small interaction. We can't risk like changing time or whatever." And Loki, who is very confident in his theory. It's just like, so Mobius is like, do you know any bird noises or anything like that? And Loki's like, bird noises? So he just freaks out, makes a big scene, lets like freeze all these goats out of like the back of like a fucking wagon.
Yeah.
He's like, get out of here. And he's like, I'm from the future. You're all gonna die. Like, blah, blah. And he starts like throwing food at them. And he's like, enjoy your last meal. and it's just wild. It was very funny.
But what was cool is then Pompeii erupts, right? And then all the ash and stuff is coming in like a wave. And Loki's just standing there with his arms out wide. And he's like, I was right. Yeah. But it's very reminiscent of Iron Man 1, where RDJ or Tony Stark, Iron Man, however you want to refer to him as, when he does the weapons presentation
Jericho.
Before he gets, with a Jericho missile before he gets taken captive, that basically starts his entire character arc.
And I didn't even catch on to that until you said that to me today, and I was like, holy shit, they were so right. Because he literally does the like...
And I think it's very mirroring because, like, even though this Loki is technically out of time, I think that it's him realizing that he can actually, like, make a difference and help. So it's him, it's kind of like the mirror image of him finally, like, embracing that he can divert from the path that was laid before him to do something that's really good.
Yeah. So once this proves to be true, this theory, they basically are like, okay, we got to find out where this variant is hiding, in which
apocalyptic event
they're hiding in, and they basically discover that it ties back to the candy that Mobius takes from the little kid in the first episode, the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah.
That's how they find where the variant is. They go there, and it's in, was it Tulsa? No, where was it?
It's in Alabama, but it's at a store called Roxcart.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're familiar with the comics, or even in Iron Man 3, they reference Roxxon Mobile.
Yeah.
And Roxxon Oil. They're a huge company, like, throughout the comics, but they're, not to talk ill of Walmart, but they're kind of like the Walmart of the Marvel Universe. So basically they go to, like, their now, like, Walmart warehouse store, or, like, Sam's Club equivalent, whatever, in the future, where there's a giant hurricane and tidal waves that wipes out, like, an entire coastal city in Alabama. But we do get to see Roxcart and Roxxon, which is a huge... It's probably just a nod to comic fans. I don't think that, at least in this show, that Roxxon's going to have any sort of, like, major play. But, I mean, they've been referenced several times now throughout the MCU. Mm-hmm. But when they're there, they find what, Jake?
Well, we finally, I mean, we already ruined it for you guys when we started talking about this, but basically, we do find the time variant, the Loki's time variant, and he is a she, Lady Loki, which is pretty cool. And Loki and her, even though we don't know it's her at the time, kind of fight for a little bit, which is pretty cool, through, like, different people's bodies, because she can, like, take over somebody's body. And it's pretty funny. It's a comedic fight. There's, like, a part where she's, like, one of the guys that works at the store, and he's, like, a guy named Randy, because Loki calls him Loki. He's like, and she's like, don't call me that, call me, and she looks at her name tag and goes, call me Randy. And then she switches to a different body, which is, like, a bigger guy, and he beats the shit out of Loki. And Loki's like, I miss Randy.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. It's good. It's a good time. But so my theory that you were talking about earlier, that you thought I was going to start talking about, is that when, in this episode, again, giant spoiler alert, this is how the episode ends, Lady Loki, we don't know her real name yet, sets up all these bombs, and in the episode you think that she's going to blow up where they are, the building they're in, but like but then like last second the bombs all sink into some sort of like teleportation thing and disappear, and then you see the timeline start branching off, and basically she bombed. What's up?
Oh, I was just saying, like, yeah, it just splits.
Yeah,
like...
you see it all going everywhere, and basically everyone's freaking out. Like somebody just bombed the main timeline. So this is my working theory is that, again, like Chad said, this is something I read. I didn't come up with it myself.
Before you get into that, though, I noticed this when I rewatched the episode. Like those doorways that they open, when you go through it, it creates that same effect that they did in Endgame when they would go through the quantum realm in the quantum tunnel, like the phase shifting effect. Yeah. It's the same thing when they go through any of those doorways that they create. But now continue.
Yeah. So this theory is that Lady Loki is actually a good guy, not a bad guy, because they've been playing her out to be a bad guy the past couple episodes. But if Kang is involved, there is a theory that Kang has been manipulating the timeline from day one to fit his agenda. And the theory is that Lady Loki just went to all of those different spots in the timeline where he tried to manipulate it to work for himself and just bombed the shit out of it. And to back that theory up a little bit, after she does it, the first thing that they show is Ravana, and she is looking at the timeline going fucking haywire, and she has a very, very concerned look on her face, and she gets up and grabs her like weapon, and that's all you see of Ravana.
I did not catch that part. Even after we talked about it, like that part did not click.
There's a possibility that, and again, nothing is confirmed here. These are all theories, but I think Lady Loki is the good guy. I think Ravana and Kang are working together to manipulate time to work in their favor. What their agenda is, we probably will not know in the Loki series. Honestly, we probably won't find it out till Quantumania, Ant-Man 3.
Or like the final episode in a
maybe like a
cliffhanger.
like a nod to it, yeah. But there's big things happening. This is by far, we're only episode 2 in, and this is giving us so much more context to Marvel than WandaVision and Bucky and the Winter Soldier. Why do I always call it that?
Bucky and the Winter Soldier? He just said it twice.
The same person. Yeah. Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Captain America and the Winter Soldier now, technically.
Yeah. So I think there's something crazy going on, but I am 99.99% sure that Ravana is the bad guy and Lady Loki is the good guy. And I think, because at the end of the episode, what happens is that Lady Loki beats the shit out of Loki, reveals herself that, hey, look, I have horns too. I'm a female version of you. And then she basically whips his ass, and he's like, show yourself. And she goes, I got shit to do. Whips his ass, opens up a portal, and then she runs through it. And then as Mobius is like running up, and he's like, Loki, wait. And then Loki follows her through, and that's how the episode ends. Yeah. So I'm hoping that Loki's going to see, like, holy shit, Kang is got some, or whatever. They're probably not going to bring out Kang, like, right away, or maybe even at all, but they're going to show that there is a bigger thing going on and that this girl is trying to stop it. And I think Loki's going to realize that I need to help this person. And hopefully he's going to turn a leaf. We'll see. The thing is,
how the tables, or how the turns table.
You want him to turn a leaf, but every time he starts to,
he dies.
Well, no, I mean
it's like an episode of Supernatural.
I mean in the show.
Sorry. Yeah, but in the show, every time you think that he's making progress, then he's like, just kidding.
Yeah, I have a devious fucking ulterior motive. It's yeah. But
what's wild is this was episode 2.
Yeah,
we're not even halfway through the show yet, so there's
6-episode series. It's so good. It's so fucking good. Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add, or should I jump into sponsor number dos?
Go ahead and sponsor into jump. Go ahead and jump into sponsor number 2.
All right, guys. Our second sponsor is Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce. It's pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce. I always fuck it up. It is so good. It goes on everything. I've had 3 meals today. I ate it with 2 of them. It's fantastic.
Same.
And yeah.
Yeah, I didn't put it in my morning smoothie because that'd be weird.
Would it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
No, I had a breakfast sandwich. It was bomb with my breakfast sandwich. And then I ate something else, put it in that. I just didn't eat my potato wedges with it, which I probably should have, but it's
better.
Fucking fantastic. Listen up. We'll tell you a little more about it, and yeah.
All right, guys. Yeah, listen up. Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. All right, guys, welcome back. So now we're going to fairly reluctantly continue our dive into the X-Men films with Dark Phoenix. Sorry, Mom.
What'd you call me?
No, so we're going to talk about X-Men Dark Phoenix, which if you guys haven't seen it, but you have seen a dumpster fire,
they look a lot alike.
They're very similar, really.
Oh, well, the only difference is that, like, a dumpster fire might be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, where this one just, you're like, oh, cool, there's some CGI. Imagine a dumpster fire, but with, like, computer graphics.
Well, like, I think we touched on this a little bit in the last one. Like, there's a lot of shit that just didn't make... One thing that didn't, in my head, that didn't make sense to me is in Apocalypse, Jean uses the Phoenix Force.
Yeah, to overpower Apocalypse because she's super powerful.
But in this movie, Dark Phoenix, she doesn't acquire the Phoenix Force until they go to space to, like, help, like, an astronaut crew or something like that. And there's, like, a explosion, and the Phoenix Force attaches itself to Jean. So how in the flying fuck did she use the Phoenix Force before she ever had the Phoenix Force?
Was it kind of like a solo away game? Just like a little bit of left hand instead of, the trusted righty?
This movie was the laziest fucking writing, the makeup, fucking Jennifer fucking Lawrence. Don't get me started on her again. But the makeup job in this movie on her, she went from looking like Mystique to a fucking person with blue makeup on.
In the defense of the comics, Mystique didn't, in earlier comics of Mystique, didn't have as much of like the bumps and grooves and decals that we know as Mystique because of the original X-Men trilogy.
Yeah.
So I would argue that her Mystique makeup in this film was the most accurate to comics, but it was the laziest makeup compared to every other rendition of Mystique, including earlier performances by Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that I think that they were all like contractually obliged to make this film, and they didn't want to.
They just didn't give
That's
a
what
shit
it came
about.
down to.
Yeah.
It was lazy writing. They basically introduced the X-Men version of the Skrulls, which they were Skrulls.
But they couldn't call them Skrulls.
Because they didn't have the rights to it.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Oh my God.
Thank God on the MCU side of things. But for this movie,
the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Even though, like, in the Skrulls in this, in their raw form, looked way more brutal than what the MCU's version of the Skrulls are.
Yeah.
But they basically, like, described that they're an alien race that can shapeshift and that they've been traveling the galaxy trying to find power and yada, yada, yada. They never once, even in this film, gave that race of aliens a name. They're like, we're aliens.
Yeah.
Okay, where are you from?
Space.
Alien.
Space.
We're from the alien. We're from the alien planets in that alien galaxy, trying to find this alien power, so we can do alien stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, you're the fucking worst.
Yeah. They get a little wild with. I don't want to like.
Fucking ruin it. If anyone hasn't seen this film yet, don't.
There's just like a part where like Jennifer. I don't want to come off.
Go on your teenage girl rant.
I'm gonna go off on it, but yeah, there's like a part where I think I mentioned it the last time we talked about it. But there's like a part where Jennifer Lawrence is like, well, it seems like the girls are the only ones getting shit done around here. Maybe they should start calling it X-women instead. And then it just like storms off, and it was just like, you died like 10 minutes into this movie, so you didn't get a goddamn thing done.
And like, with that being said, I appreciate this sentiment of being like, give women the recognition.
For sure.
But also,
all about it.
But what really just like gets me about this film is that I don't even want to spend so much time on like the Jennifer Lawrence, like it should be called X-Women, but like that's ignoring what the socio-political aspect of what the X-Men were originally created for. We're recording this on June 20th. Yesterday was Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, yes sir.
Which is tied way more to the X-Men than the feminist movement.
Yeah.
Like the X-Men in the comic origins was a metaphor for civil rights.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't need to try and change the narrative of what the X-Men was to fit modern days, because from the start the X-Men were about equality and people that were different.
And there's actually even a quote from, and I can't quote it perfectly. My computer is not in front of me, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would look it up. Maybe you can. Stan Lee says that even though he did not write the characters of Charles Xavier and Eric Lencher, Magneto, and Professor X as Martin Luther King Jr. or Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
It was Junior, by the way, but yeah.
Malcolm X being Magneto and Martin Luther King Jr. being Professor Xavier. When he heard that was being, oh my God, help me with the words here.
Related.
Yeah. That he was very touched by it, and he could see and appreciated that was what it was. So,
yeah. And just today, actually, I read. Well, I didn't read. I watched like a video with a sound clip from Stan Lee talking about how, the Marvel community has always tried to be, and moving forward will always stay true to the concept of it's about Everyone is included. Everyone is equal. Your neighbor can be a hero. Your mother can be a hero. A stranger can be a hero. The one thing that Marvel will never stand for is hate, prejudice. That's why in all these stories, across the comics, across the movies, the people that push those narratives are the ones that are vilified. They're the ones that are... They're not vilified. They are villains. I shouldn't say vilified because that insinuates that a negative veil is put over them as, oh, we should hate them because they're the bad guy. No, those concepts do not stand in the comic world. They don't.
In the caramel world?
Yeah, in the caramel. Well, sure. But yeah,
I love a good... One thing that I argue to my girlfriend all the time, well, I don't argue it, I tell it to her all the time, is that I love a good villain. I can sympathize with a villain more than I can sympathize with a hero. In most a good villain, not just like
a well-written villain.
Yeah, not somebody who just wants to fucking murder people and be a psychopath, but like a well-written villain. Because the thing is a good villain thinks they're the hero, and I really can not identify with, because I'm not a bad person. I don't want to kill people and shit like that.
Well, you're always the villain in someone's story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, everyone in their own story is the good guy. No matter if you think you're right. But yeah, point being, we're not even talking about X-Men anymore for the past 10 minutes. But,
yeah, we're trying to give light into this story because the movie sucked.
The movie sucked. We're making it better by talking about it this way.
Basically, everybody dies in the movie, so it doesn't fucking matter anyways.
Just a very well-written villain is just... I can relate so much better. A lot of times I find myself like,
I think that's what was so great about Thanos.
Yeah.
Fuck talking about the X-Men, because this movie was hot garbage. It was barely an X-Men film. It was less of an X-Men film than The Last Stand. And I mean that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. It was the worst in the franchise, this one, for sure.
Halfway through was when Disney was like, hey, can we buy Fox and do this better? And they're like, well, we're in the middle of making this movie, so let's just fucking give up, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. But looking at Thanos as a villain, he's more concerned about conservation and longevity. It's just that no one took him seriously, so he went to the extreme to prove his point.
And he didn't back it with any facts. He was just like, this is what I'm going to do, and it's going to be this. And even Gamora in Infinity War was like, you don't know that. You don't know that what you're doing is actually going to make it better. You're just going on what you think. So, but yeah, I understand what you're saying, that he thought he was helping. Again, a well-written villain thinks they're the hero.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's,
the Joker.
I was going to say, and then you go to DC and there's the Joker where he's like, I'm the villain.
Fuck it, yeah.
I just want to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
But, no. I guess to try and tie it back to...
Yeah, I was like, bring it home.
Dark Phoenix. It was a hot garbage film. There was a lot of cheesy moments.
There's a lot.
The train scene.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far into it, but all their superhero stances, and then just Professor X just slightly leaning forward.
He grabs a bar to pull himself forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna go into the details of that because it will sound way more insensitive than we already have. But just the movie was just so...
It was bad.
So poorly written.
Yeah.
It could have been great.
the good thing about the movie, to give it some credit, is that now all of those actors' contracts are up, so they can make better movies from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much the best Dark Phoenix storyline that we've gotten so far has been WandaVision. And it has nothing to do with Dark Phoenix.
Ralph Boner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Oh. You gotta do what you gotta do, bro, right?
Jesus, I don't want to talk about this movie anymore.
I don't either, so let's...
It was really bad. Watch it just because you must. I have to watch it because Nicole and I are at the end of the line here with the X-Men movies, and that's the next one on the...
Oh, you still haven't done that. Oh,
that's the last one. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
And I told her, she's like, do we have to watch New Mutants? And I was like, you can.
I still haven't watched it, and I don't really care to.
It literally has... You can... I mean, it's better than Dark Phoenix.
Well, that's
which isn't saying a whole lot, but... Did she fart?
No, she's snoring.
Oh. But no, it literally has nothing to do with any of the movies, so it really is kind of a standalone movie, and it's just not good. So, I mean... watch it if you want to, but it's not going to be with me. 3 times,
and then Fox is bought out by Disney, and then they basically just like compiled enough scenes to make a film. So we're not going to talk about it either.
No, not gonna. No, we're ending our X-Men fucking thing with this one, and we barely talked about it because we hate it so much. So
I mean, we'll still talk about like Logan and the Deadpool films, but I think Jake wanted to go originally. He wanted to go with release dates and release times, and then I was like, "Yeah, but Dark Phoenix," and he's like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's not," because we want to end on a good note for you guys.
Yeah. So I do want to. I think maybe our next deep dive we go into should be maybe the Spider-Man films leading into the next Spider-Man movie. Huh?
We've got time for that. So let's do Harry Potter first because
Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been dying to do that. So.
Oh, damn it! All right. Nicole hasn't seen any of the Can you believe this? She hasn't seen any of the Harry Potter movies.
Was she not allowed to because there's witchcraft?
No, that was after. Because that happened when I was in 9th grade, that's when that happened. And she's younger than me, so...
Well, yeah, so that just means that she's probably in, like... Well, she's a little bit younger than me, too, so, like... I think I started reading Harry Potter in, like, 3rd grade.
Oh, no, we were reading them... When they first came out, we were reading them in school. And then...
Me, too, but mine was in 3rd grade.
But then a bunch of parents were like, it's witchcraft.
You should read Lord of the Rings instead.
Yeah.
That's a different story. Yeah. We're not going to get into that.
We won't get into that either. That's our other podcast. Yeah. We hate God.
It's just called the Sorry Mom Podcast.
Yeah.
Subtitle, We Hate God and All Things Are Made Up. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. Both our moms are very religious. That's why we say that.
Yeah, they haven't made it this far into the episode. They try and listen every week, and they don't make it this far.
I don't think my mom has listened to one episode of our podcast. She's like, oh, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, for what? And she's like, doing what you love. And I'm like, have you listened? And she's like, no. I'm like, cool. Love you too, Ma.
My mom tries to...
Yeah, she said we're too vulgar.
My mom tries to chime into our live streams, and then the second we start swearing, she's like, oh, no.
Aww. I'm going to wear an upside-down cross on our next episode.
That's actually very Christian of you.
Damn it.
St. Peter, bro. Come at me. I know what I'm talking about. I grew up in this shit.
Yeah, never mind.
But with that being said, we're going to... I guess we stopped talking about...
We gotta stop. We gotta stop and just go into
We stopped talking about Dark Phoenix a while ago.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go ahead and close out.
We were both very hesitant. We were both like, we don't really want to talk about this movie, anyways.
So as you guys can tell, we did everything we could to not.
We tried.
Dark Phoenix.
It sucks.
Don't watch it.
We have some. We have some cool stuff coming up, though, Chad. Let's get into exciting stuff.
We're going to talk about this a little bit here and close out the episode.
Yeah, so to close out the episode, we are going to talk a little bit about our live stream we got coming up. Our next one for this month is going to be on a Wednesday, the 23rd. So please come listen and watch.
So if you guys are listening to this on the day that this episode comes out, it's literally tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we'll promote it a bunch on like Facebook and stuff like that too. So
yeah. So we're gonna be playing
we're gonna switch up the game a little bit.
Yeah. Do you want to tell them what we're playing, or
you go ahead? Okay. I interrupted you while you were already explaining it, but yeah.
Yeah. So we are gonna play a online or digital version of Battle Shots. Yeah. Which will be super fun. We already created our board. You guys won't actually get to see the board, because then if you guys could see our boards, then we could see each other's boards. Yeah. So we're not going to do that. We're not that good at technology. But yeah, we're going to play Battle Shots, and then throughout the game, we're going to, every 15 minutes or so, we will throw out some trivia so you can win some stuff from our sponsors, win some merch.
From us,
yeah. Our own merch. Sorry, Jake, do this. Jake, you do this. Because Jake is wearing our merch. Yeah. You'll get to wear some of that, win some of that, so that you can wear some of that. But yeah, so
I have got a lot of good feedback about these shirts. I know that you and I have said these are like the softest and like nicest. Like shout out to Mama Bird Clothing Co.
Absolutely.
These shirts are like the softest fucking shirts. And like I said, I was at my cousin's, my niece's birthday party, and my cousins that were there were like, that have these shirts were just like, dude, it's like the softest, most comfortable shirt like ever. And they are the weirdest, like soft. They're very comfortable. Trust me.
They want to win these shirts. They feel like a vintage shirt that has been washed to its like optimal wearing level the first time you wear it.
Yeah.
I've had people tell me, one of our listeners, shout out to Tom and Katie Berg, first off, because they just had their second child. But Katie was saying that she wore the shirt like several days in the same week.
Yeah.
Because she would like wear it, a couple of times, wash it, and the second came out of the dryer, she'd put it back on because it's just it's that comfortable. Yeah.
And even the girl who makes these shirts for us, a friend of mine from high school, if we both follow her on TikTok, and she made herself an extra one of these shirts, and she literally, if you go on her TikTok, you will see her in her TikToks wearing this shirt, like in a lot of her TikToks.
So and they're so comfortable.
And I was like, nice shirt. And she goes, yeah, it's seriously the most comfortable shirt. Like, and she's the one who made it. It's so funny.
My dad wears his all the time. He doesn't even listen to the show because I mean he's. I say that with love.
He experiences this in real life.
Yeah, he sees it firsthand, but also like he's not a big comic book dude, but he loves his shirt. Like seriously, wears it all the time. So they're super soft. They're great. Yeah. I wear mine all the time.
Yeah, I'm wearing mine right now.
Yeah.
And that was not on purpose. Like, I'm going to wear my shirt for the podcast. I literally put the shirt on today and I was like, oh, I'm podcasting. Do I change? Nah, I'm good.
Nah.
But, guys, Wednesday, the 23rd, we're going to be giving away, not only are we giving away these shirts, we're giving away stuff from our sponsors, we're giving away other cool shit. I don't want to say what it is because it takes away the fun of it. But we
There's
have
some
other
random
cool
surprise knickknacks.
Yeah,
and
that we throw in these
knickknacks
boxes.
really talks down on what you get.
Yeah.
We fill these boxes with a bunch of cool, they
nerdy
seem random, but
shit.
they make sense, and they're nerdy, and they're fun, and yeah, so you get all that stuff. Also, if you like what we do, please, if you can, we do have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/allthingsnerdpodcast. You know, if you can spare a couple of dollars a month to help us keep doing what we're doing, because right now everything we do comes out of our pocket. You know, right now we don't make money off of this. You know, we don't even break even. But we love doing this, so we're going to keep doing it. But if you like what we're doing and you want to help, you know, be a part of our Patreon. You get a lot of exclusives. There's a group chat that we're going to start with only patrons. So, you know, you can reach out to us. There's also exclusive merch on, you know, specific colors of t-shirts that we will never release on our web store. You know, all that stuff.
Along with some other stuff that we're going to probably...
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. You know, you might notice that when the sponsor spots are playing, you see us just like joking back and forth, you know, depending on the...
Talking about your mom's
appropriateness of what we talk about in between those, in between our segments. You know, we'll be releasing a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well. And yeah, so, but the big thing is you'll get a bunch of exclusive merch that we won't be releasing on our web store. And speaking of our web store, we do have our web store up. We have our first run of Sorry Mom shirts, which we'll be adding to, as well as we do have, you know, we still have some Mustache May logo shirts available, and then we're restocking our normal logo shirts, as well as it's summertime, so we're going to throw some bro tanks in there, and then we just have plans to add so much more. So we have our web store as well.
I think we're looking at coffee mugs, hats,
some
of these like
bracelets,
silicone bracelets, yeah, whatever you want to call them.
Just merge the words bracelet and wristbands into bracelands. It's super good. But also, if that's not something that you're interested in, but you still like what we're doing, I mean, please like us, like on YouTube, Facebook, anywhere you get your podcasts, subscribe, and then share it with people that you think will appreciate it. It means the world to us. I mean, we're going to do this regardless, but if we can start reaching more people and having genuine conversations, we also have some pretty cool guests lined up in the coming weeks. Yeah. Talking about a variety of things, from physical media to the indie gaming world. We've got that. We're also on Twitch.
We also have somebody who owns a comic book store that we're going to interview in the near future as well.
Yeah, absolutely, which is going to be awesome. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys like what we're doing and you want to be a part of it, there's so many ways you can do it. If there's something that you want us to talk about, if there's ways that you think that we can get more involved, or you want us to get more involved in a particular topic, you can always reach out to us with our email. It's just hello@allthingsnerdpodcast.com. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, we love you guys. Thank you.
We do. We love you guys.
It's been 20 weeks. We've been. Who would have
We're
thought?
we're probably gonna do something. So we feel like 25 is somewhat of a milestone because it's like
6 months, like half a year.
Quarter of 100. We'll probably do something special. We haven't worked out the details on it yet. We're going to do that before that happens, but we got some time. But yeah, episode 25, we're gonna do something fucking cool, and it's gonna be for you guys. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah. With that being said, again, thank you guys. We love you, and we're gonna close out this episode. This has been the All Things Nerd podcast.